Okay, so today we're going to do something a little different than what we normally do. Recently, my daughter is at the age that she wants to play things like Minecraft and stuff. So we've been playing a lot of Minecraft, and I was looking for something to do that was a little different. So what we're doing is we set up a Minecraft Skyblock server, and what I noticed recently is there aren't a lot of videos on how to do this now, so I figured I'd do a quick video just to show how to do it. So if anybody else wants to do this now, I mean, obviously this changes so much, it'll be helpful for a little while. So what happens normally is when you buy a kit from Amazon, let's say, it comes with an SD card that already has the Raspberry Pi OS installed on it. What we're doing here is we're installing it on an SD card because I'm running this on a Raspberry Pi 4 gig. I'm going to do the test run that I'm showing you guys today. It's going to be done on a Raspberry Pi 3B+. So it should work fine on that. The Raspberry Pi 4 is more powerful though. Just something to be aware of. And I'll include a link below for a Raspberry Pi 4. But so what I'm doing here, just in case you have to install the operating system fresh, is you download the operating system from raspberrypi.org, and I'll include these links below. And you're gonna, if you're doing this on Windows, you're gonna need a way to put the file onto the SD card. So this is Win32 Disk Imager. So I use this to just, after you download this file, you extract it somewhere. I just extracted it to this drive. And then you need to install it on the SD card. So you may need an adapter, blah, blah, blah. Somehow you have to get the SD card hooked up to the computer, and you have to figure out what drive letter it is. For me, it's drive J. This is the file that we just downloaded from here. We just extracted it, and now we're pushing it out to the device. So once this is done, I'll come back and we'll show the actual configuration from here. A couple things that have to be done is we have to turn on SSH, and we have to connect to the wireless for now. Normally I'd say you want to hook this directly to your network somewhere, but just because we're doing this as an example, I'm just going to hook it to the wireless when I set this all up. So yeah, and the other thing to say here is this is just one way of doing this. I'm going to use certain plugins and certain pieces of software just so this works well on the Raspberry Pi. I'm going to use the Minecraft, I believe it's called the Paper server. We're going to use that because it's less, uses less resources. And from there, we're going to use plugins to do the other things we want to do. So yeah, we're going to set up a Skyblock server of sorts, and we're going to put in the Cobblestone magic Cobblestone Generator. What that does is it gives you the ability to get other blocks other than just cobblestone, so you can build your own little world up in the Skyblock. And you know, you can follow different things with different mods. You can do achievements as you go along. We're not going to get into any of that. I'm just going to build the server and show you how to get the mods installed, and that's about it. But it's fun, it's interesting, it's different than regular Minecraft, and I'm sure somebody is looking for a video on how to do this today, because as the new versions come out, everything is different, and when I was looking around, I couldn't find a good video on how to do this today, you know. And like I say, it won't be good in probably 6 months or a year from now, but at least it'll be helpful to somebody now. So yeah, so I'll be back once this finishes deploying to the SD card. And I'll show you the handful of things that I need to do to get this working, and we'll go through step by step how to do it. Like I said before, I'm going to include links to all the files that I'm using here. They do change often, so just be aware of that. So the versions I'm using may not work in the future, but it seems like there's some stuff here that updates on its own, etc. So we'll go through that in a little while. Okay, so we got the Raspberry Pi server up and running. When you do this, you're going to want to either hook it up to an HDMI port on a TV or something, set it up, get it to this point. You can do this on the device itself. You can terminal in to do everything. You can do this in the graphical interface on a Raspberry Pi. What I did is I have it running. It's plugged into my network downstairs because I found that this Raspberry Pi has something wrong with its wireless. So I just plugged it directly into the network so we could go through this tutorial. So get on the device, get in a terminal, connect it to your network however you're going to do it. Like I say, this is an old one that I had lying around, so obviously there's something wrong with the wireless. But so what we're going to do here is, first thing is we're going to make a folder for the server to run in. So now if we go ls, you'll see a folder called Minecraft. So now we're going to change directory and we're going to go into Minecraft. Okay, so there's nothing in this folder. So what we need to do now, we're going to download the server jar file from PaperMC. So we're going to copy link location on the newest one. This is today. So we want to do wget, and I'm going to paste this link in there. So this is going to download, and then we are going to run it. So to run it, and like I say, all these links are going to be in the description below. We need this command right here. And what I may find right now is, because this is a fresh install, we may have to install the Java server. So I'm going to take this from here. So this runs it with these commands, and it looks for the file that we just downloaded. So I'm going to just copy it from there. And then when we paste it in here, I'm going to just hit tab, and it's going to fill it out for me. So let's see if Java is installed. Okay, so we need to install Java. So the commands that we need to run, what you should run these first. That'll update your operating system to the newest version. I'm being lazy today, so I'm just going to see if it'll install directly. If it won't, then we'll have to run through those. So that's the command to install the Java development library and everything. So that's all we should have to do here, and then we should be able to run the command just as it was before. So we'll let this run for a minute. I don't think this will take, yeah, this is already done. All right, so now we're going to go back up and see if this will run. So this is, now I wasn't paying attention, so I should have noticed this at first. So this error is basically saying you're using too much memory. So I'm not sure how much memory this Raspberry Pi has. On the Raspberry Pi 4, I'm using 2 gigs to run this. This command here said it was originally 2G. That's 2 gigs of memory. I'm going to try 1 gig of memory. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it's working now. So this may only be a 2 gig version of the Raspberry Pi 3B+. I'm not totally sure. Like I say, I have a couple of these around. I just grabbed one. So this should now download the regular Minecraft server, do some changes. It's going to make a bunch of folders. When this is finished, I will be back to walk you through the rest. Okay, so what you're going to see after this installs is you're going to see an error that says something along the lines of you need to accept the EULA. So what you have to do now is you go nano EULA.text, and then what you have to do here is change this to true. You're supposed to read the EULA. So you change it to true, and if you're doing it the same way I'm doing, you hit Control X, and then save modified buffer, blah blah blah. Yes. You just type. Oops. Must have clicked off it. You just type yes. Okay, so then what you do here is you want to run the command again. And while this is running, this is going to start the server and build it. Another note on this command here, in the actual version of the Minecraft server, because this is like, if you look, it patched it, we ran it, blah, 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 blah. See, it downloads it and it patches it and it makes it's its own version. Another thing is this command is a little bit different in the other versions. So If you need to use less memory, you're going to have to look this up. But this command, there's probably something, it's probably megabytes. So you probably do like 500 M. But I'm going to say if you're using a Raspberry Pi that's that old, you're probably going to have some issues running it if you're using one that can't do that much memory. Like I say, I'm using a Raspberry Pi 4. It's a 4 gig. They make an 8 gig version too. But the 4 gig version I'm using 2 gigs of memory to run the server. It runs fine for what I need. And like I say, you could probably run 3 or 4 people in a Skyblock session. It would work fine. So we're going to let this finish up. This is going to take a minute because it's got to build the world. And all these things that you see here, these can be changed in the config. I think it's like properties, server properties. I can show you that in a minute. But you can change these settings if you want it to be a creative world and blah, 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 you know. But that's up to you. We're not going to really go through these, but this is something you can do as well. Like I say, I'm doing Skyblock, so this is kind of irrelevant. You kind of want it to be in survival mode for Skyblock, so that way you can do stuff. But yeah, we'll go from there once this finishes. Okay, so I'm looking at this and I'm testing the connection. I have this feeling this thing is, yeah, you can see it's still booting up. So you can ignore these right now. I'm joining the world. We'll see how long this takes, but this is going to try to load the entire world. So this may be, okay, so yeah, it did work. Okay, so what you see here is bad things, because this is trying to run, you see it's starting to catch up, but this world is too much for this little Raspberry Pi. So like I say, it'd probably be better to do this on a 4. See how it's coming back. It's working, it's just slow. So for now, we know the server's actually working. So what you do is you open Minecraft, you put in the IP address, and if we look over here, the IP address is, for this one, 192.168.1.152. So you got to figure that out on yours. If you go into a terminal after you connect it to wireless and everything, you can run this command. We're going to stop this, right? Disconnect. I'm going to just shrink this down for now. So once this stops, I'll show you how you get your IP address. Like I say, we are pushing this old Raspberry Pi just a little bit on here. The newer one doesn't run anywhere near this slow. So I'm going to wait for this to close out, and then I'll go through that. Okay, so you can see it finally closed out. So what we need to do here now is, if you want to find your IP address, you do ifconfig. You may have to actually install this. Some versions have it, some versions don't. And it'll tell you, I think it's just sudo apt-get install, and then you just type it in. So here we see this is the IP address that we're working with here. But yeah, like I say, if you're doing this through a SSH terminal, you're gonna need to know that already. So there's more people with better information on how to get to this point. But once you're here, that's about it. So I ran this, and like I say, you see all these errors. They don't actually mean much. If you read towards the bottom, they say, do not report this to paper. This is not a bug or crash. Like I say, the server was actually working. It's just really slow. So from here, what we need to do is install the plugins. So the first plugin we're going to put in is BentoBox. And this is what then hosts Skyblock. And the other thing I want to install is Magic Cobblestone Generator. So this just makes it so you get different, when you make a cobblestone generator, this gives you different blocks so you can do more stuff. There is a million different plugins. If you go into here, you can follow the instructions on all these, and like I say, I'm going to include this link below on all these other things. I'm just doing the basics for you guys today, and we'll go from there. So this is the thing we need to get. So I'm going to copy the link for this, and this is bento box. So what we need to do here is go into the plugins folder. So if you go ls, you're going to see that, yep, there's a plugins folder right there. So I'm going to go cd plugins, and we're going to go ls. There should be nothing in here. I see bstats, so that must be built in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do wget, and I'm going to paste that link. Oops, I copied it by accident. Copy this link, copy link location. We're going to go wget bento box. It's going to download. So now all we need to do to install bento box is reload the server. Now what we need to do is run the server, because when we run the server, it's going to make another folder here called bento box, and that's where we have to drop in the Skyblock file and the magic cobblestone generator, and then those will build themselves out. So let's run the server one more time. And like I said, this might take a few minutes just because this is a pretty slow one. Oh, duh. So we're going to go back a directory. We're going to go cd go back a directory. Let's try running this with only 500 megs of memory and just see what happens. Apparently that is the command, because it would have probably crashed by now. Yep, it's working. It's just going to be slow. So all that command does is it changes it from 1 gig when you have 1 G right here and right here to 500 megabytes of memory. So this is only using 500 megabytes of memory on the Raspberry Pi, so it's going to be even slower. But for what we're doing, I just want to show you, you can change this command so you can run it on an older, slower one. And like I say, your mileage may vary. Like I say, the Raspberry Pi 4 works pretty well doing this. So I'm going to pause right now. We're going to wait for this to load. It's going to take a little while. You're going to see something in here that says bento box. It's going to have its own writing. It's going to try to download any updates it finds. And the server will just run. Once the server runs, I'm just going to kill it, and then we're going to put the other files in their correct location. So we're going to give this a few minutes, and I'll be back. Okay, so the server started up, bento box, did all its stuff. Worked fine, just a little bit slow. So now what we need to do is we need to go into plugins. Then we need to go into bento box. And then let's look, we need to go into add-ons. Okay, so this is where we're going to download these other files. So Skyblock, we're going to download right here. We're going to copy link location. We're going to wget and just paste that right in. There you go. And we are going to do the magic cobblestone generator. This is up to you if you want this or not. I like to have other stuff while I'm doing my Skyblock, so that's what this does. And this has like levels, like what you get at certain levels. But you may actually need some of these other things to do that. What I did in mine is I modified it so you'd get random blocks at certain intervals. It's done by a percentage point. So we need the newest one, which would be this guy. We're going to copy link location. We're going to do the same thing, wget, and we're going to paste this link. There we go. So that's it. So now we can start the server again. This time I'm going to start the server and give it a, we're going to actually go back. I'm going to go back a couple directories. So we're in the regular Minecraft one. You see, just Minecraft. I'm going to start the server. I'm going to see if we can do like 1500 megs and just see what it does. Just to give it a little more memory. If it starts, it starts. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's no big deal. But what this does is when it runs, it's gonna make the config files and install everything it needs from that jar file. So we really want to run it again and then shut it back off if you want to edit any of the configs. I'm going to run it. We're going to connect to it. We're going to see what it looks like. Actually, I take that back. I am going to run it and I'm going to stop it, and then I'm going to change the config so that way it loads the Skyblock island when you connect, because you can have it so you can come into like the main server and then you have to type /island to get to the island. But I'm going to make it so it brings us right into an island first, because that'll be less resources on this old device. So I'm going to let this load. I'm going to pause it again. We're going to stop it, and then we'll go into the config and edit it and make sure that it it loads directly into an island. And like I say, that'll just speed this up a little bit. Okay, so we are now at the point where we can modify configs. So what I did was I went into our Minecraft server folder, went into the plugins, bento box, add-ons, be Skyblock. And then I want to edit the config file to make it so it loads your world, your island, right when you first log in. This is normally disabled. It's normally set to false. So, okay, so you go down in this file until you say create island on first login. And I just change this to true. It's like I said, it's normally false. So that's good to go. You have the option here, if we go cd, if you go into the Magic Cobblestone Generator in the add-ons folder, you can, there's a config and a generator template. I'm not super good at this yet, so I'm going to have to take some time. I've got my server doing what I want it to do, but it took some manipulation to get to work. So you've got generator template. So if you go nano generator template, in here you're going to see there's all these things. Like, this is your basic cobblestone generator. What I did in mine, and I'm not sure if it worked 100% correctly, is I changed these to some other things. So if we go down here and we look, for example, see color here. I put color, diamond ore, iron ore, gold ore. I put them all in this top one up here, and I gave them a percentage. So if you look at this, it's got 10, 86, 1111, right? So that's 100% if you add it all up. So I did like 5% for one, I did 1% for diamond. I can't say 100% that worked because, like I said, I had to do some messing around in the game to get it to start working. So I think what I'm going to do is figure that stuff out, and I'll make another episode if I get it all figured out. I'm sure this stuff, the configurations and everything, you should be able to find something online. I just haven't had that much experience with this mod itself. So, like I say, I can show you it works in mine. I think what we'll do for now is I'm going to go in here and just see if it changes anything. We'll do coal ore, and we'll do it at 50%, and then we'll take this, what is that, 36? So that's 36, 46. Yep, so that's right. So technically we should get a ton of coal spawning if this indeed works. Like I said, I had to mess with it a little bit, so I doubt this is going to work right now. So we're going to save that. Oops. Okay, so that should be good. Now we are going to cd, or you just go cd, and then you can go cd Minecraft. And then we could start the server back up, and technically when we connect to this, where is our server commands? And technically, I'm going to change this back to 1 day because it really took a long time to load. So I am going to let this load. That's going to take a couple minutes just because, like I say, the old Raspberry Pi, really slow. So I'm going to let that load up, and then we're going to connect in through Minecraft, and we're going to see what happens. Okay, so I kicked down the amount of memory to 500 megabytes, and the game loaded much faster than before, which is kind of funny. And I'm in. Let's see. Seems, no, still pretty hung up. Okay, so when you get in, you can then pick an island. So let's see if this speeds her up. So the original Skyblock, double island. Let's do double island. Let's see what happens. So this is going to take a second. It should load us in and bring us right to those areas. Like I say, this may take a minute just because this thing's running on such a slow Raspberry Pi. I thought it would bring you right there. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it is working. You just got to type the command again. So give it a second. It should load. Like I say, definitely use a Raspberry Pi 4 for this, without a doubt. This is pretty slow. I thought this would run a hair better on this thing. Beep, beep, beep. Come on, buddy. You can do it. We may have to pop this SD card out and pop it into... Oh, no, there it goes. All right. So, there should be a second island here somewhere. Let's just see if this is even working. Yeah, it is. Okay, so it is actually working. No, it's not. Ah! Check this out. Oh, there goes the other island. All right, so it was just lagged out. It was still trying to figure it out. So, oh look, here we go. Welcome to Scouts. Do not fall. I've already kind of done that. So, okay, it is actually working. Let's see if I can break a block. Yeah, it's still lagged out. So yeah, without a doubt, use the Raspberry Pi 4. I can take this SD card and pop it into my Raspberry Pi 4, and it should just boot up and run fine. But let's see if that worked. I don't get as... Oh, there it goes. You see it wasn't picking up my dirt right away. So it's just a little bit lagged out still. So it's working, it's just slow. And if you look over here, can't keep up, server overloaded. So, and if you see, this came after Bento Box successfully downloaded data from GitHub. So it was still doing stuff. So let's see. Yeah, now it seems to be fine. So it was still processing. So let's do a quick setup of a cobblestone generator. So in the chest, you normally have ice. I'm just going to take one of these, and you should have lava. So what you do is you drop the ice block here, and you break it. And you don't want to lose this lava because you only get one. You put that there. Okay, so we got cobblestone. Let's see what happens, because I did see... I probably should make myself a pickaxe first. Let's do that. We'll make a pickaxe real quick. You can see the server's... It's working right now. It's not amazing though. So let's go... What are we gonna do to do that? So I'll get that. Oops. Didn't take it, did I? Or was it lagged out? Oh, there it goes. Just lagged out. So like I say, this is better suited on a better piece of hardware, but I'm gonna need more oak. All right, hold on. Oak log. So what we'll do, come on, still lagged out. Like I said, you could build this on an old one. I don't know what the point would be, and then upgrade it. All right, so let's see. Let's see what this thing's doing. Yeah, it's still lagged, but it's going. At least it's enough to give you the example. Okay, so Cobblestone Generator is working, but it's only giving me cobblestone. So this, some of this has to do with like advancements. Okay, so this is just this is different. You see how this says you have unlocked? Let's do Diamond Generator, see if it works. coal. Yep, so it did work. So when I built my first one, it was... This isn't going to work because I don't have a stone pickaxe. Let's see if we can... Oops. Seems to be catching up, surprisingly. Oops. Would help if I use the right pickaxe. Yes, this is working fine. So that's really all you got to do, and you have the choice apparently, because like I said, I did my cobblestone generators after, so I didn't have this where I could click and select, but there is a way. Oh, I bet you have to be opt. Let's do opt. Let's see what happens. See, like now, I must have clicked it. There's a way to... Can't remember which command it is. Is it B Skyblock? There's a command B. Yeah, there it is. I thought that's what it was before. So if you go like this, if you give it a second, because like I said, it's got a whole admin panel for this thing. So manage generators. It's going to be a little slow, like I say, and I could show you this on the other server. I show you how much faster it is. But you can like actually create one. You can modify stuff. You can select. But this is only for admins, so you can do different things here. But the good news is when you just connect in, you do get it. So like I say, Raspberry Pi 4, definitely what you want to do here. This is a little bit slow. But what I'll show you now is the one that I started on the Raspberry Pi 4. So that's the basic setup. I mean, there's not a whole lot here. And like I say, the Raspberry Pi 3, it really can't handle this. I thought this would run this reasonably okay just because the world is so tiny. Like I say, I did 2 islands, but that's fine. That is not going to add a whole lot on to this. Yeah, I mean, like, it's okay. It's not amazing. All right, so let's disconnect from this one, and I'll connect to the other one. And we'll show you how much faster this is on a Raspberry Pi 4. So this should bring me right to my island. This one, like I said, I haven't done much on this yet, but you can see how much faster this is. Nothing is lagged out. Like, for example, if you do that same command, what was it? BS admin generator. It's instant. So this stuff works great. You know, you're in here, you can do whatever you need to do. This one has a few other mods put onto it, but it works good. So I mean, that's it for right now. I mean, if you like this Minecraft stuff, let me know. I'll start doing some videos on this stuff. The Skyblock stuff, actually, like, I just like this because you can start fresh and do whatever you want. This one's only 1 island, but you can also, there's ways to delete your island and do other things if you want to do it differently. I was just, you can see I got 2 of these generators here because I was messing around with this, trying to figure it all out. But yeah, so that's it basically for this episode. Yeah, if you like this stuff, I'll do a little side thing on Minecraft. Maybe like we'll have some friends together and play and things like that. But yeah, that's it. This is how you do it. And like I say, do not recommend doing this on the Raspberry Pi 3. But like I said, I can just pop this SD card out of this and pop it into a 4 and I have a full-blown server. So you can always configure it on this and then move it over. I do think the 4 has the ability to do 64-bit. And this would be 32-bit. But I still don't think it matters. I think this will boot right up. Alright, so that's that. I'll see you in the next episode.